microphone. All right, let me do this. As long as we don't hear double echo on YouTube, I think we should be okay.
Nice.
Because YouTube. I think I have all the microphones. I should be able to just have to try Audacity then also. Current live stream. Testing part 2. Let's see what this says. As long as we don't hear double echo on YouTube,
Check, check.
I should be able to just have to try Audacity then also. Current live stream. Testing part 2. Let's see what this says.
Check, check.
Yeah, you sound okay there. All right, good. Now let me just see if on the regular audio recording device. Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing. Go ahead, say something, Ryan.
Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing.
All right, looks like it's pulling through all the audio as well. Super. Look at that, almost like I know what I'm doing here, which I don't. Trained professionals, ladies and gentlemen, trained professionals. All right. All right, are you ready? You have everything you need?
Yeah, I'm good to go.
Okay. Then let's hit it. On this episode of Bantha Milk Podcast, Ryan's back, and we talk all about another episode of Andor. This is kind of like an in-between episode, according to the showrunner. Let's see what happens. Intro music.
What?
He's no good to me, Dad.
Intro music. Intro music.
Bounty hunting is a complicated profession.
There we go. Bounty hunting is a complicated profession. RGH is back. What?
It's me. I'm back.
He's back. He's wearing his Dodgers hat, even though, well, my boy Schwerzer wanted to keep the Dodgers in the playoffs. So he hit a home run so far out of Padre Stadium that it landed in L.A. That's the jokes going around the Philadelphia area here are all about how hard that home run was.
Yeah.
So this is one of the few times that me as a Phillies fan get to be excited when a Dodgers fan can't be excited. So
It's a rare occasion. Eat it up. Eat it up.
I will, because, you've only been in the World Series like 1,000 times. So the fact that you got knocked out early and we're in it makes me very happy. So Ryan's holding on to that. My only problem is I'm one of those weird people that everybody in Philadelphia hates. I'm a Dallas Cowboy fan.
Oh.
Yeah, so this week was a big Eagles-Cowboys game, and the Eagles won. They made us look silly. So everybody at school and work on Monday was all ribbing me about, oh, Cowboys, and I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever. I'm like, go Phillies. So so that was my answer. That kind of shushed them a little bit, but it, they remembered real fast that I was a Cowboys fan and wanted to make fun of me some more. So there we go.
That's I think what always happens to Cowboys fans.
Yes.
I feel like Cowboys fans are just always the butt of the joke.
Yep, because we always go back to we won 5 Super Bowls, and then even the middle school kids, they know. Yeah, but the last one was in the 90s, so shut up. And I'm like, yeah, but you've only won one, so whatever. So, that's not why we're here, folks. We're not here to talk about what sports Rob likes or Ryan likes, or as some people call Ryan Robert, what he likes. We're here to talk about Star Wars. And so we are back. Ryan is back again in full beard mode. I love it. Hockey is back. Ryan is excited about that.
I'm very excited.
And Andor Episode 7, the announcements, I should say, just happened. and it was a lot of announcements. It was fun. It was good. I liked it. What did you think of it as a whole there, RGH?
I thought it was really, really good. I thought it definitely, as much as last week was heavy action,
Yes.
this week moved us into the heavy political side.
Yeah, we definitely saw how the political movement started of the rebellion, which was pretty cool. And while we think about that, let's break into our Bantha Milk and talk about all of our social medias, since right now we're live streaming pew 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 on YouTube. So you can check us out on YouTube at Bantha Milk. Just look up Bantha Milk Podcast and you'll find us. I have another, and it's pretty funny when you were talking all about how Jason from Ears Up Network, which is our parent organization, Ears Up, Ears Up with a Z, they actually get paid to run advertisements for the 21st Amendment. I just drink the beer for them and support them, but I didn't even think about it when I got it. Maybe that's why I got it, because it was like embedded in my head from listening to all the podcasts and him talking about Coaster Pills. But I have another Coaster Pills this week.
Nice.
Because I don't drink other than on the show for the most part. So I'm going to have this for the next 5 weeks or 4 weeks after this. So get used to hearing all about Coaster Pills, and Jason will be very happy that at least I get to drink it. And you, sir, what do you have this week? Same thing or something different?
I went something different. I went with Corona this week, inspired by Andor's Runaway Planet of Choice.
I like it. Very good. So bust that open. Yes. Oh. There we go.
Took a minute.
Mm-hmm. Well, you needed a bottle opener. I, on the other hand, was just able to just pop that John open.
There you go.
Jason always says John, speaking of Ears Up. Jason always says John, and I thought that was just like a Philly thing. Apparently, Jason says it as well. But going back to baseball, because it's all people in Philly are talking about right now, when Bryce Harper hit one of the home runs, there was somebody in the stands holding up a sign that said, "Hit that John out of here," or something like that. And I was so gonna send it to Jason because he loves saying the word John.
Yeah.
So anyway, Ears Up is our parent organization. That other guy's the Supreme Taco Supreme with guacamole and sour cream. I forget Resort. They are there as well. They have another show, which is pretty funny, where they go through old direct to DVD, direct to VHS Disney movies, scraping the vault. There's Ears Up in Depth, and then there's us right here at Bantha Milk. Check us out at Facebook, Bantha Milk Podcast, Twitter at just Bantha Milk, Instagram, Bantha Milk Podcast. Also, go to our Sacred Jedi Text Facebook group. Our Instagram page just got followed by another podcast called Sacred Jedi Text, where they talk about Star Wars books. I found that pretty funny because, our name was so original, Sacred Jedi Text, in that group. Nobody ever thought of that before. So I just found it, yeah. I just found it funny that we're now following a different Sacred Jedi Text. So that I have just a couple of house cleaning news right here real fast. I need to reach across the table. Do a little dance for us there, Ryan. Ooh, look at that.
There we go.
Entertainment for you. All right. One of the times that Nick was here, a month ago, he had to go off and have a baby and blah, 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 whatever.
Gosh.
But she is adorable, little Zandalina. She's very, very cute. I know I just butchered her name, and Nick is very mad at me for that. But she's super cute. Now, your little fella, when he was little, would he swaddle or no? For those of you who are too young to know what swaddling is, when they're really little, you wrap them up really tight, and it keeps their arms in, and they still feel like they're in the womb. Because Nick has every picture that Nick has posted of her, she's still swaddled, and neither of my kids would do it. As soon as we tried to wrap them up, they were like throwing their arms out, like, "No way, I ain't doing this," and they had their hands out. We tried like a dozen times, and we were like, "Forget it. They don't want to do it." So Did your little buddy was he a good swaddler or no?
He fought it. He definitely fought it. We had to get there's now fancy zip up swaddles, so that's what we had to result.
There we go.
Like fall to.
Okay. Yeah, we didn't have fancy zip up ones. We had baby in a bag was really good. It was like a blanket that zip up blanket, but then their arms were free. But because you're not supposed to put a blanket in the crib with them and all that stuff. So this was like a sleeping bag that was like all the way up and like, oh, I was like, I want one of these. It looks so comfortable. So we used to call them baby in a bags. I don't know what they were really called, but they were really useful. But anyway, when Nick was here, he was saying, oh, we should have stickers. So I got stickers made. Bam, look at that. So his goal is to go around. We have Wawas around here, which are like better than 7-Elevens. And he wants to put them on all the metal poles out in front of the Wawa so your car doesn't go through the store. He wants to put them on every one of those. So if you want some stickers, some Bantha Milk stickers, DM us, send us an email at banthamilkpodcast at Gmail, and send us your address, and I'll send you some stickers so that you can guerrilla marketing. I was going to say guerrilla warfare. Guerrilla marketing our Bantha Milk stickers all over the place. So if you want some, I'll send them to you because we have them. Just make sure you put them out there and then take a picture of them wherever you put them on whatever Wawa or 7-Eleven or whatever grocery store you guys have out there. Also, one last thing. Since Johnny Jalopy at johnnyjalopy.com, since he made that caricature for us, I did order one of his prints, and he made, it's all rolled up. He did this a while back. It was an X-Wing car, little hot rod X-Wing car there. So I ordered that from him. He even autographed it to us. But then he was super nice, and he also sent us, bam, an actual picture of the caricature that he made for us. These are huge. These are like 11 by 17.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, they're really nice. So you can go to his website if you're into hot rods or anything like that, or even Star Wars cars. They have this one, and he also did Darth Vader's helmet. It was pretty neat. So if you want to hang up some kind of neat cartoon drawings in your house somewhere, JohnnyJalopy.com is the place to go, and he draws some really, really cool cars, and he's also trying to do caricatures now, so he might even sell you one of those instead, so whatever. So that's that. So that's my plug for Johnny Jalopy because he's a good man. I got all that going on. Oh, let's hit the Star Wars news real fast. I realized last week while editing the show how many times I say
I work in a call center, and I didn't realize until like the first time I had to listen to myself. I was like, yeah.
You're like, why do I say so much? So here we go. Here's some Star Wars news for you. Maybe.
Star Wars news.
I just have two big, quick things. It's mostly about things you can buy. Do you remember Tamagotchis?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So a while back, they made a C-3PO and an R2-D2 Tamagotchi. I know this because my son was nice enough for my birthday. He bought me one. And I forgot how much I didn't, or how when I was a kid, how much I loved playing with it, but how now at this age, I could care less. And I felt really bad because he bought it for me. I played it like 5 minutes, and I was like, all right, I'm done. It's so basic compared to all the stuff that we have today. But back in the 80s and 90s, like they were the coolest things ever. Well, they made a new one, a Baby Yoda Tamagotchi now also. So you can get a Baby Yoda Tamagotchi. If you really miss having your little pets hanging on your school bag and you want to keep them alive, you can now get a Baby Yoda one. And then the other thing that I have also about Baby Yoda, and I love these backpacks. And if you go to the parks, Disney World and or Disneyland, they have the Lounge Fly backpacks.
Yes.
They're super cool. My daughter got one. She got a Captain America one. She loves it. I just love the structure of it. I love how like they're leather, but they're like stiff at the same time. Like they're not like floppy or anything like that. Like I don't know. I was very impressed. I was like, oh my gosh, I want one. But now they have a Baby Yoda fuzzy Loungefly backpack.
Oh dang!
Yeah. It kind of looks like the inside of Uggs. How fuzzy it is, and then it has a cool little Baby Yoda embroidered on it, I think, and it's really nice looking. If they had it over the summer, although I don't know. Do you want something that fuzzy on your back in summertime? I would think it would generate a lot of extra heat.
Yeah, I was gonna say I know for myself, if I'm hiking or if I'm in the parks or whatever I'm doing, I always end up like destroying my shirt because of the sweat.
Yeah, especially if you have a backpack on, then it causes even more. And if you have a fuzzy backpack on, forget about it.
Yeah.
But it is cool, and I guess it's good that it came out now where it's a little bit cooler out. So
There you go.
So there you go. So those are the two things that I found this week. I wasn't really doing much looking, but I saw these two cool Baby Yoda things. Did you see anything also or no?
No, nothing going on really this week. It doesn't seem like. I will say the Baby Yoda Tamagotchi is funny to me because I actually had, I guess, adult Yoda Tamagotchi back in
nice.
the day. So it's kind of funny that I guess now I should go buy the baby one.
Now you have to get the Baby Yoda one. That's pretty funny. All right. Well, I guess right now, before we go into the breakdown of Episode 7 announcements, we might as well take a quick commercial break. Maybe there will be a commercial here. Maybe there won't. It's up to you to find out. So we'll be right back. And we're back. Yay. Woo. Commercials are awesome.
I will say the commercials are pretty reliably on our show.
Okay. Well, that's good. So I hope you like that product, and I hope you buy it, whatever it is. Maybe it's a commercial for a show on Peacock, or maybe it's a Disney Plus commercial. I don't know. But anywho, check it out. Maybe it's even JCPenney. That was my favorite one, was a JCPenney ad in there. So I broke this episode down scene by scene with just little bits about each one because there were, and I numbered them also. There were 16 scenes this week. So we're going to get to the list. We're going to find out a little bit about each one of them. I like when people call them Easter eggs, but it's just like their way of making continuity, making it, good continuity. It's not really an Easter egg. It's just like, this is what's in Star Wars world, so this would be here, so it should be here.
It just carries over.
It just carries over. So there was a lot of that, a lot of good stuff that carried over. And last week, like we said, was the action that started the rebellion as a whole, because we now had 80 million credits that we can afford to do all the rebellious stuff with and get everybody together. This week we saw Mon Mothma, a lot of Mon Mothma, and then a lot of the Imperial retaliation to this going down. So this wasn't as exciting, and I should have written it down, but I didn't. But the showrunner for the show talked about how episodes like 8, 9, and 10 are grouped together, and they're all about X, and then 11 and 12 is the big finale, and they're all about Y. But they didn't really say what 7 was. So 7 was kind of like this, almost like a limbo episode. Like it was a standalone. Excuse me, I have the hiccups. It was a standalone episode, and I can see where it is a standalone because it was just a little bit more, like you said earlier, like serious building of just drama, like there wasn't a lot of action, there wasn't a lot of stuff going on, but there was a lot of important stuff in this episode. So we start in scene 1. Cyril, that poor guy, is getting blasted by his mom again. She is just tearing into him. She tore him up. I'm going to turn you up a little bit more. I apologize here. All right.
Oh, no worries. Sorry about that.
I think I turned the volume down on this laptop when the music was playing, and then I realized that you were a little quiet, so I turned you back up there. All right. But yeah, she tore him up. She she was not letting him get away with anything and just complaining about everything still. Oh, that's what I wanted to say. StarWars.com had 2 recipes, and one my daughter was going to make for us, but then we never went to the store to get all the stuff that we needed to get for it. But there's a cute recipe to make Baby Yoda Halloween cookies. They have a recipe to make, like, it's almost like, I guess it's like a sugar cookie type of cookie, but then fondant on top of your cutout of Baby Yoda with a ghost sheet made of fondant, and then you put little eyes and stuff on it. So it looks like, oh, I lost you. So it looks like Baby Yoda is a ghost. All right, now I got to see what happened here, why I lost RGH. Oh, you're back.
So sorry. Rank amateur over here.
That's okay. It happens to me all the time. I hate when it just does it all by itself. At least you had a good excuse for it. You turned something off.
Yeah.
All right, let me see. Back to this. Okay, everything's back to normal. Sorry about that. All right. So,
You're talking about the fondant cookies.
the fondant cookies, yes. We just got a text message. Eric from the Supreme Resort said, speaking of spoilers, didn't you all love it when Andor shot Han Solo in the Nards? I don't remember seeing that, but okay.
Eric guy.
Oh, Eric, he's so silly. All right, back to the cookies. So, yeah, so it was a fondant-covered cookie, so it looked like it would be Baby Yoda if he was underneath a sheet, like a ghost would be. So it was pretty cute. And then,
adorable.
yeah, and then the other thing they had Cyril's cereal, and it was like Rice Krispie. It was like, it goes, get blue crispy treats. And I don't know where you can find just regular blue Rice Krispies. Like, I'm like, oh, yeah, that's easy. If they exist, sure, go ahead. So I don't know if I missed a part where it was like, take Rice Krispies and spray them with like water and blue food coloring or not. I missed that part, but yeah. So it was like, yeah, if you have blue Rice Krispie treats, it's very easy to make his cereal. So yeah.
That's funny. It's almost like they forgot to release the blue cereal that they thought they were going to release.
The Star Wars cereal. We have all these in a warehouse. Why didn't anybody ever send them out? Oh, we forgot all about that. So yeah, so back to the show. So he's getting yelled at by his mom again. Nothing that he does is right. She's complaining this time about his tailored clothes and the fact that his collar was too long. It says that he's trying too hard or this or that or whatever. Poor guy. No wonder why he's so beaten down. He's just like...
His mom just destroys it.
She just destroys him no matter what. So poor little fellow there. And then even at the end when he's at work, like he's just like, this is not what I expected my life to be. I did not think I was going to be living with my mom and working in this cubicle the rest of my life. But anyway, that's a spoiler for the end of the show. Scene 2, we're in the ISP office, and Deidre knows the Empire's doing it all wrong, basically is what I wrote down. Like, she sees what they're doing. They're talking about, we need to do this, this, and this now. And she's like, man, that's what they want you to do.
Yeah, they're playing the exact bad guy playbook. Let's retaliate with even more. I think it was they wanted to levy a tax of 5 times the amount that was stolen if anybody's caught harboring rebels.
Right, yeah.
exactly how to be a bad guy.
Exactly how to be even more of a bad guy. Be the baddest of the bad guys. And then the person that was leading it was Wolf Ularin, and he
Yes.
was from A New Hope and Rebels. So
Yep.
it was cool. That would be one of those Easter eggs.
I'm actually curious if that sets us up because down the road, Yularen is, he's Thrawn's mentor, obviously,
Right.
and then he's also the Sideburns guy from Rebels.
Oh,
I can't
yeah.
remember his name.
I forget what his name
Effects.
is. Yes, I know who you're talking about. Yeah. You're going to look it up for us.
Yeah, I'm gonna check. Let's see if I can figure it out. Sideburns, there it is. Callus.
Yes, there you go. Good. So he's Callus's mentor. I was going to say
boss,
teacher,
yeah.
boss, yeah. And also Thrawn's boss. I would love if we were able to see Thrawn in this series, but I think it's too early for Thrawn.
Yeah, I think at most he's gonna be like somebody who like is at a meeting table that Deidre is at or something.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be pretty cool because he's so cool. I love Thrawn. He's like the one rebel. I mean, of course, everybody loves Darth Vader too, but are the one Imperial that I love. So he's pretty cool. All right, scene 3, Luthen is listening to the news about the heist. Now, I have a theory about this, and I'm probably way wrong, but we'll see what happens. Mon Mothma stops by to find out if he did it. So she comes in. We see some things in the background. You see the necklaces of the father, the son, and the daughter. Oops, you're blurry on me again. There we go.
Am I blurry?
No,
Sorry.
you're good. Okay, it could be my Wi-Fi on that computer also. But it's funny. She has her back to the door. She tells her driver to stay outside because her driver's an ISP spy. And he's talking. I like the way he's talking, where he's like answering her rebel questions, but he's answering it in a way of a salesman. Oh yeah, like so that the
Yeah.
guy has no idea what they're actually talking about. Very animated and stuff. But
Yeah, it's really great to watch just how he's like masking that the whole time. They're having this really kind of serious, threatening conversation in some ways.
yeah,
And then
yeah, because she's like,
but he's
he's,
all-
he's all showy. He's a big showman. Because she's like mad. She's like, how could you have done this? And he's like, look, I had to. Like, we need this money. We can't rely on your family's money, type of thing. And she wants to just keep picking away a little bit through the Senate. And she wants to try and do things slowly. And she's thinking, if we just do a little bit at a time, eventually we'll break through and we'll get through. And he's like, let's go. We're going all in. Now that we got this, we're going all the way in. So I found it funny how the two of them are different takes on what to do to start this rebellion, to start this rebellion.
Yeah, and I think Mon Mothma also. What I got off of Mon Mothma there is she is. I don't think she's comfortable with getting her hands dirty with the rebellion right now.
Right.
Feel like maybe there's some part of her that thinks that we can lead a civilized rebellion of some sort, and we can do it through political means and make it happen through the Senate or whatever. But realistically, what Luthen kind of set into action and what he got the folks on Aldhani to do is what you have to do to start a revolution.
Yeah, 100%. I agree 100%. She's definitely trying to just do it through politics, and he's like, that's not going to work. And then his assistant, which I have her name later on, Kia Kleiya, Kleiya. That's her name. She says to him, I hope she is worth it. Can't hide forever. And then like basically saying Mon Mothma's trying to do it secretively. We got to go all the way. I have a feeling that the assistant has a bigger part in this than what we're going to find out. That maybe she's not the assistant. She might be the mastermind, and he's the assistant. That would be a fun twist.
Yeah, definitely feels like there's something we don't know yet going on.
Mm-hmm. Because I feel like there was another, kind of like Padme, how when she would always go and meet, she would have her body double pretend that they were the leader and she was just a servant girl in the background. I feel like this is the same situation, that we're going to find out that she has a much bigger part in it, and she's letting him be the showman, but she's actually the brains behind the whole thing. That would be I would like that a lot.
Yeah,
and then there was also a Temple Guard mask on the shelf in there as well. So there's a couple more little things. So this is
also caught the powered down Gungan shield.
Oh, cool.
That was in the corner.
Okay.
And the Sith Stalker armor is always there.
Yeah.
That one keeps showing up. And then the other one that it was out of focus in other episodes, but like finally got into focus here, was a mask like Plo Koon wears.
Oh, right. Yes.
I forget his race.
Was that the one like right in front of them? It was like backwards the whole time. Yeah, I was trying to figure out what mask that was. Now that you said it, now I'm like, yes, that's exactly what it was. And when he goes into the back room in one of the other episodes, there was a Sith and a Jedi holocron on the shelf, but they were much larger than the ones that you buy at Disney World. It was like twice the size of this. They were huge.
Yeah.
So I found that fun that they made bigger ones.
Yep.
So yeah, so I do like when they're in the shop because I do like trying to see all the different things that they have in there.
And they've done a good job of making it like they're not focusing on the things that are supposed to be Easter eggs. They're truly background Easter eggs, which is really cool. For nerds like us.
Nerds like us I know what that is. Yeah. And then the Cyril, he starts his new job at the Bureau of Standards, and the guy says weights and gauges seems more exciting from the outside. I was like, yes, weights and gauges definitely seems very exciting. Like, I think all the people in the streets are like, I really wish I was working in weights and gauges. They're a more vibrant arena than the redundancy of verification. Is what he says. The redundancy of verification. I'm like, oh my gosh, all these jobs are so boring.
They made that place look so awful.
Yes.
I work in a call center, so I'm used to cubicles, but my God, I think it was like 5 stories of nothing but the same cubicle.
Yeah.
Over and over.
And they're like they're so spread out. So even like with your cubicle, I'm sure there's somebody pretty close to you. So if you needed to, you could stand up and like talk to somebody right next to you, like, "Hey, you got an extra pen? Whatever.
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing for lunch?" Like, you can, but they're so spread out that it's like, everyone is 10 feet apart. Yeah.
8 hours in this little spot.
With these two, and I did like that they had the old style monitors for both of them, just like the two 4x3 monitors, just like we had in the 70s and 80s when this show, was originally created. So that was pretty funny. And then he says he's telling the guy about how he got locked there, or he lost his job because of a rebel killed 2 of our people, and there's a guy on the loose, and I'm determined to find him, and blah blah. And he goes, "Yeah, we're gonna have to edit your history here a little bit." Because we don't need all that getting out. Which I found very, very funny that he was like, "Nah, we're gonna start now." He goes, "There's an immediate opening in fuel security." I'm like, "Oh God, I can't even imagine how boring that job is." And he just like looks at that cubicle, and he's just like, "Just put me out of my misery, please, somebody." So then we cut scene to a woman in a cloak walking through the city. It took me a while to figure out who that was because she looked different when wearing a cloak and stuff, but that was the assistant.
Okay.
That was Luthen's.
I'm glad you picked that up. My wife, ever since the trailer dropped, my wife was convinced that we were going to find out that that person in the cloak was another young Leia,
Oh, okay.
young Princess Leia.
Okay.
And I didn't notice in my watch that it was the assistant. So I'm glad you picked that up.
Yeah.
because,
Yeah, it wasn't until the second one when she started talking to Vale, and then I was like, oh, because this was another one with, and especially when we get into like the Mon Mothma, the political speak and the words that they were using and all the like, it's so like it was written by George Lucas when Carrie Fisher in interviews has said, you can write this stuff on paper, but you can't say this stuff. Like, this is too hard to say. I feel like all their dialogue was very verbose as well. I used a big word now because it was just like, oh my gosh, like I had to pause it, read it, think about it, comprehend it, and then go, oh, okay, now I know what she's saying. Moving on. Like, if I would have just watched it one time full through, I would have been like, all right, they're planning something, but I don't know what. And that just might be my simple brain. I'm not sure.
No, that's fair. The other thing that I thought was interesting about this, like where she's walking through, I caught, I don't know if you caught this. There were some like security people, and they were wearing the same helmets that we see the rebels wear.
Okay.
On Yavin, the kind of like bubbly with the long back.
Okay. Yeah. I didn't see that. That's awesome. Yeah.
So I'm wondering if did the rebels, steal those helmets? It would make sense, right?
Right. Yeah.
That they would have stolen those. And
especially after like the Deidre part where she's talking to the guy about everything that they stole. So I wouldn't doubt that they would steal some of their armor as well, because it's easier to steal it than it is to try and get your own made.
Right. And then the remark I had was, this almost feels like it was shot at a Comic-Con. Like just the background. I was like, oh, I'm genuinely curious if maybe some of those stormtroopers were like 501st guys.
Right. They probably could be. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it's was well documented in Mandalorian when there was that giant scene of all the stormtroopers. They were all 501st guys in the background. So I wouldn't doubt that they had a bunch of 501st guys running around in this scene as well. So we see her running through. She's looking at symbols written in chalk on the ground to know where she's going to go meet this other person. And so we see her walking, then it cuts away. And then we're at Deidre, and she's going into an office with the very laid-back dude. She's like, fix your jacket. Oh, yeah, sorry, ma'am, sir. And he couldn't, yes, sir, ma'am. And so I'm like, oh, it's just funny how they're showing all of the, like, the regular soldiers and how what regular soldier life is like in this show. We saw how everybody that was on the other planet, all they wanted to do, the mission stunk. The building that they were in was awful, but they got to see this really cool light show. That's the only reason you went to this base, was to see this really cool light show once every, I forget how many years it was, 12 years or something like that. Yeah. And now this guy's like, oh, it's so hot in here. I'm going to unbuckle my jacket. She comes in. She's like, fix yourself. Oh, yeah, sorry. Falzonis is the guy's name.
Yep.
But she wants, this is a great line. She wants records of all the missing avionics, comms, navigation, and targeting equipment. And he goes, for what star system? And she says, all of them. For everywhere in the world. Everything, all time. And he's like, what? Do you know how much work that is? And she's like, do I need to get somebody else to get it? Fine.
Yeah. But I thought that was a cool exchange. And like you said, we're really seeing like the unpolished side of the Empire, which is cool because, like, realistically, in especially the first three first three released episodes, New Hope, Empire, and Jedi, we really only got like they like the Empire was this super regimented, really like strong, like strength through unity type of thing. And so I really like as we have expanded more, we're starting to see more of that real side, right? The guys who are unbuttoned. I
Yeah.
really liked. I think it was Solo when we got to see the like mud troopers,
Yep.
and I would love to see more of that eventually.
Yeah.
I'm really happy that we're like exploring that side of the Empire.
Yeah, exactly. Like we're seeing everything, not just the cream of the crop. We're seeing all the rest of them now.
Mhm.
So then Cinta's, we see her. She's unboxing a speeder, trying to get away. When you see a giant star destroyer fly overhead, and you're like, oh, now they're on this planet as well. So we don't see her much. We just see her get on the speeder and then fly away. This is all we really have of her. And obviously she's going somewhere trying to get off the planet, but now all the planets are in lockdown, so we'll have to see if she's able to get out and get reunited with the rest of her people. And then the next scene, that was a quick scene. We get back to the assistant walking, and then she meets up with Vale. And this is the other one. I was trying to figure out who this was because she went from, dingy, dirty clothes to now she's in the city and looking all prim and proper. And I was like, who's this? And I was like, oh, that's Vale. I was like, that's so funny. She said, where is he? I thought he would be here. So she really wanted to see Luthen. But then Kelia, or however you say her name, she's like annoyed. She's very, very annoyed, which is why leading me to believe that she might have more pull in this than just the assistant, which will also, if that's the case, it'll give us a good understanding going back to the flashbacks why she was always so stern-faced and so angry when Luthen was doing all the talking. You find out that she's like, you talk too much. You're telling too many people too many things type of thing. But she's mad. She says, Cinta's doing what she was told to do. And she's like, unlike you, even by sending out a message to us, you could get yourself in just as much. You can get caught just like you can get the person receiving the message caught. So don't send messages unless it's absolutely necessary, is basically what she was telling her. And then she tells him that you need to find Clem, Andor Cashin, who you know him as Clem. You need to find him and take care of it. And she's like, you mean kill him? She's like, you know what I mean. So now Clem is the rebels, and he's wanted by both sides now.
Yep.
So he's in for a herd of trouble. And then we see Cinta's back on the speeder, and then Marva, and we get to Marva and Cashin's house, and we see our good friend B2 Emo. He's back, happy little fellow. I love him. He's like, oh, Cashin, you're back. And then
I love his stutter.
I do.
His stutter is so fun.
Yeah.
It's I don't know. It's just so fun.
Mm-hmm. And he's like I was saying to Nick, he's like a puppy that can talk.
Yeah.
Like, he's very happy to see you, which, like, a puppy's extremely happy to see you. So if a puppy could talk, he would be B2 Emo, BMO. He would definitely be him, because they're like, yay, you're home. But now they can actually say, yay, you're home, where before they just bark at you. So it's pretty fun. And then we find out that there's troopers all over Ferrix and that it's under Imperial authority. And Cashin finds out that Tim turned him in, which is funny because he was like, you know this? She's like, the whole town knows this. He's like, oh.
It's big news.
It's this isn't a secret. And then he basically he comes back to take her away, because now that he has his 200,000 credits or less now, because he bought a ship and now he's paying off his debts. So now he's down to like 150,000 credits. He's come to take her away and run away, and she doesn't want to go. And I found that this was fun. He was like, there's, I'll take you to a safe place. She's like, I'm in my safe place. And I'm like, in your house? And then she's like, in my head. And I'm like, okay, that's a little crazy speak. Like, they'll never get me up here.
Yeah.
But it was fun. So she doesn't want to go, and then we cut away to fancy party on Coruscant.
Yep.
And this is when there's like all this talk, which I was like, oh my goodness. She's talking to her old friend Tay Cloman, and I don't know if he's been in anything else. I don't think so. I don't think we've seen him before.
Not that I'm familiar with. I will say Chandrila, where he's from,
Okay.
is where the Star Cruiser that they built at Disney World is from.
Oh, okay.
Um,
So maybe we'll see him in Disney World.
there we go. No, I think but it's definitely a very affluent system from my understanding, and it is cool. You know, finally in some sort of video media, they're actually referring to a place that like they built
Yeah.
instead of Batu, which never gets referred to.
Right.
So
Yeah.
kind of found that like a cool little Easter egg.
Yeah, and also Mon, when she says, whatever the charity thing that she's making, is her country, her planet that she's from. So let's see. So some of the lines in here, he says, "I'm not sure you're aware how far afield some of us have taken our political allegiance these days." I was like, what? I had to look up what the word afield meant, and it means apart from, like how far away we've
there.
gone from the empire. I was like, okay. And then she says the Grand Vizsla has infiltrated my separatist coalition meeting. As long as everyone thinks I'm an irritation, there is a good chance they will miss what I'm really doing. So it's funny because they start this conversation, and he's like, look, you're all about the empire. I am not. He's like, you don't understand. We're not actually on the same page anymore. And then by the end of it, she's like, but what you don't know is we are on the same page.
Right. This part of this episode is what hit me where like, oh, excuse me, where they're talking about this being a, this was a political thriller, and there's been a touch of it here and there, but this felt like I was watching like, I don't know, Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy kind of
Yeah.
thing. It was like a really strong political thriller type of scene where it was actually a thriller for a
Yeah,
minute there.
100%. And she even said like, oh, my husband's coming. He can't be trusted. So she doesn't even trust her own husband. The daughter came over and talked to them for a minute, and I was like, what is the point of this? I think maybe the husband, well, this is just more of showing that she's trying to build this revolution and this rebellion, and she can't even control her own kid at this point.
Yeah.
So, yes, I'm forming a Chandrilian charitable outreach program. So she is also from Chandrila.
Chandrila.
Yeah, so they're both from the same planet. Yes, and it will appear to be another of my Belovian and useless irritations. I was like, oh my gosh, the words in this scene, it's so crazy. And then he does ask her like, what do you need my help with? And she doesn't answer him. And he says, you didn't answer me. And she says, that's right, I didn't, and I won't. And I'm like, so like, read between the lines here. You're both on the same thing. And then she turns it on him, and she says, perhaps you find my politics a bit strong for your taste, which was exactly what he said to her in the beginning of this scene. And I was like, that's awesome.
Yeah,
Then
it was a great turnaround for
yeah,
sure.
Yeah. And I'm really excited to see where that goes and how much he is involved in what's coming up as well. So then after all that giant politics gets dropped on us, Cassian sneaks into Bix's house, and he knocks. I was like, look at that. In a galaxy far, far away, a long, long time ago, they have the same silly knock that we do. So he gives that funny knock, and then she tells him this is the last place he should be. I was like, everybody's telling him this. Like, his mom tells him, get out of here. She's telling him, get out of here. He said the troopers won't catch me. She says, people blame you for the Imperials being there. So the people will turn you into the troopers. So you better get out of here. This is like a sad moment for him because I think he wanted to come back. He wanted to take his mom away. Then he was like, okay, I can get Bix out of here as well, or I can live with Bix or whatever the case may be. But his mom is like, you have to leave and I'm not coming with you. His hopefully girlfriend is like, I'm not going with you. You're a jerk. So everything that he came home for, the only thing that really loves him still is the droid, and just BMO, and his mom won't his mom won't let him take BMO with him. So, so he gives her 12,000 credits, and he says, "This is to all the friends. This is for what I owe them." And then as he leaves, he puts his hood up because everybody has a hood in Star Wars. And he sees some troopers and he hides from them. And when he hides, then he has a flashback to when his adopted dad gets killed, which was a sad scene because you're like, oh, like this poor guy. And then I don't know if you noticed, but the troopers were clone troopers. They weren't stormtroopers because it was a flashback and they were clone troopers. And then his dad he's trying to stop the townsfolk from he was trying to stop them from getting killed because they were going to do dumb things to the stormtroopers, to the clone troopers, and instead he gets blamed for it. And so then they string him up in the town square and they leave him there for a couple of days, which is not a nice thing. Then we go back to his house. He's now done flashing back to that. He goes back to his house. And I liked how B had this little docking station that he was in. It was really cool. It was like a little charging station. Marva tells him that she is not going. She says the rebellion is here. It's overdue and probably doomed, and I'm too old and I don't care anymore. So I found that like a great line. She was like, look, we need to do this, and I'm not running and hiding. This is what I'm going to do.
Yeah,
and
I liked that. She didn't care why she cared why she was rebelling, obviously, but she knew she was going to rebel.
Yeah. I think she was so tired of running because she even talks about how she avoided the square that her husband was murdered in and all that stuff, and she's finally had enough of hiding and whatever, and she's like, that's it, I'm in. And it's funny, on one of the YouTube shows that I was watching, Screen Crush I was watching, he showed Maverin when she was on Harry Potter because she was Harry Potter's aunt, and it was funny seeing how old and disheveled she looks now, and I know that's extra makeup making her look older and more frail compared to how she looked as the aunt on Harry Potter. So it just made me laugh. So while she's talking, there's another flashback to where Cassian attacks the troopers for killing his dad as a little kid. He's with like a stick. He's running at him, and then people are standing up. They're and getting killed. Oh yeah, she says Alani was just a or he says Alani was just a robbery, and then she says no, people are now standing up. Now I wonder if she knows. I think she might know that he was a part of the Alani robbery, but she's not saying anything to him because I think she doesn't want to have that knowledge or something. I don't know. Do you think she knows?
I don't know. She's a hard one to read. I could see her knowing that he was part of the Aldani robbery, because I think somewhere in there also we found out that Clem was was her husband's name.
Yes.
And I'm trying to remember. I hope I'm remembering this right. I don't think did Cassian pick the name Clem, or was that given to him?
No, he picked it because when he was on the ship with Luthen says, obviously you don't want to go by your real name. What should we call you? And he said Clem.
Gotcha.
So, yeah.
Gotcha.
So,
yeah, I mean, I could see Marva, knowing. I could also see her not knowing, that, obviously the story has kind of set her up to not know, but I think there's a lot in this show that isn't what it seems, and I think, especially with us having another 6 episodes still this season, I think anything is still really possible. So I could see her knowing or being like an old friend of Luthen's, and
Yeah,
actually her being the reason why Luthen came more so than his sort of girlfriend or whatever.
I like that. I like that idea. I hope so. Um, it would be pretty cool. And then B hides his head. She wants to help. She says she's been lying around and waiting to die too long enough. And then B is like, like he's like hiding. He's like, maybe I should walk away. And he says you can't beat them. She says, not if I run away. I can't beat them. And then she's super excited to help. It's like she now got her second wind on life, is the way I wrote it down. Like she's now like, let's go, I'm all in. And she says, you can't stay and I can't go, which was sad because she's basically telling him, like, you have to get out of here. I love you, but get out. And he says something like, well, I can't because I'll be worried about you every single day. And she says, yeah, that's love. Like that's what love is. So yes, you will be. So it was pretty sad. And then she says, one more thing, stop looking for your sister. There were no survivors on Canary. So I wonder what happened after they left. And then she says, let it go. And then I heard the Frozen soundtrack started playing. It was really strange.
Disney's got to get that synergy in.
Yes, they do.
Yeah, I actually wrote down, I said, I don't know if she knows that there were no survivors. I think she knows she's sending Cashin off to do more rebel-y things, so maybe she's trying to clear his mind, I guess.
Okay.
And just being like, hey, your thing about your sister, just stop. I think that's probably, to me, that's what it was. I think his sister's still out there.
I think so too. Yeah, I think she just doesn't want him to spend the time and effort looking because he's gonna get in more trouble by doing that than he would by just going off and doing whatever he's going to do. So I think she's just trying to save him I don't want to say hassle, but the grief and anguish that's going to cause by him going and looking for her.
Yeah. I also think what's interesting on the flip side of seeing the normal everyday pieces of the Empire, we're seeing the more dirty parts of the rebellion.
Yeah, 100%.
Families being split up,
mm-hmm.
people dying, all that kind of stuff. That in the movies and such, a lot of the rebellion has been this righteous cause that people are doing.
Right.
Whereas like this is like, and obviously the beginning of a rebellion is going to be more dirty than the end of it usually.
Yep.
But this is really the dirty roots of the rebellion and the hard parts that we don't necessarily get otherwise.
Exactly. And I love this series because there's very little Star Wars in the Star Wars series. Not that I don't like Star Wars. I love Star Wars. But the fact that you can have a whole Star Wars series with very little Star Wars in it makes it so awesome to me. Like,
there's not even that many laser guns.
No.
There was blasters in the fight, but like you go whole episodes without any blasters or lightsabers or anything.
And even when they were holding the guns, when they were practicing or when they were dressed in their normal clothes, those guns looked like AK-47s almost. They didn't look like Star Wars guns. They looked like they had like a clip in the bottom, which I found very odd that there would be a clip for shooting laser bolts. You can't just grab a whole handful of laser bolts and put them into the clip. So I don't know what the clip was for. But
yeah, I don't know why your battery needed to be banana shaped.
Yeah, exactly. So, but it's a nice fresh feel on Star Wars, which I really like. Like, not that I don't want to see a whole bunch of lightsabers and stuff, but this is a great war movie, a great war series, and it just has a lot of Star Wars undertones to it rather than smacking you in the face with Star Wars. It's all just there. It's all in the background more.
Absolutely.
So then we're back at the ISP office, and Blevins trying to throw Deidre under the bus, which was great. I love, and it's great because it totally backfires. She's like, yeah, go ahead, say whatever you want to say, and then she's like, it's because I'm doing your job for you. So this whole scene was great because it just shows the politics of the Empire as well, of the Imperials, and it shows how
it
Go ahead.
shows how their rigidity doesn't let them like react to the rebels. They have all these strict rules, all these strict measures, and if they're playing by their rule book, yeah, and Deidre knows this, right?
Yeah.
This is her whole point. They can't. They're never gonna fight the rebels because you have to submit 37 different papers to
yeah.
to try and get the data to go find a rebel, and there's been 37 attacks in the times that you've
In
sent
the
all
time
those
that you've
papers.
waited for all that, yeah. It reminds me a little bit of like the Vietnam War. Like we wouldn't cross I don't know what the number was, but we wouldn't cross the parallel to go into
Yeah.
but they were coming down and they're fighting the guerrilla warfare against us. And we were like, okay, we're just standing our ground here. And it feels like the same thing. Like she said, we drew these lines to make all these sectors. The rebels don't work inside of these lines. They don't care. They're just doing their thing, no matter where it is. So I found it fun that she even said, like in one of the other episodes, that she's thinking like a rebel. Which is actually what they need. They need more people thinking like rebels than they do thinking like Imperials, because that's how you're going to know what their plan is if you think like them instead. So it was funny how it backfires on them. Deidre winds up getting more power because of it. And then as she's leaving, the major tells her to walk with her, and he says, "Oh, good job. Watch your back." So he's like, "You did a great thing, but other people don't like that." So and this is where it would have been like a really good like Thrawn moment for him to come in, and she's thinking the way Thrawn would think, where he's not thinking in these straight lines that the Imperial has broken everything down into. He thinks big picture, and she's now thinking big picture as well. And I would love to see her working for Thrawn. I think the two of them together, they probably could win this battle and the rebels would be completely shut down. And then I would be sad because I would be excited that Thrawn won, but sad that Thrawn won at the same time. So then we go to a new planet, Niamos.
Yeah.
Which
really
was
cool music.
Really cool music. This whole episode had a lot of great music.
Yes.
The score behind it was amazing the whole time. Now I am confused. When we met Cashin before, he said that didn't he say he did 6 years in as a cook?
Oh, when he was talking to
When he was talking to Skeen.
Yeah, he did say that.
I
know what you're getting at now. The end of the Namios stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't put that together until right this very moment. Interesting.
Yeah, because as soon as I saw it, I was thinking, okay, we either had a time jump forward or a time jump backwards.
I wrote down time jump ?
Yeah.
Because I thought the same thing. There was definitely some sort of time jump there.
Mm-hmm. So the way it portrays, basically, like you would think it would be 6 months later or like sometime later, because he's on this other planet. He's with some girl, so he's established a relationship there with this girl, which, by the way, she is super annoying.
Super drunk and just wants him to go get more booze.
Yeah, she needs more Pizos and Revnog. The green one, because you like the green one too. But I'm like, oh my gosh, like no wonder why he's standing in the bathroom with the shower on, because he wants to get away from her. Yeah, so I mean, maybe he didn't establish anything. This could be a one-night stand that she's just there. Who knows? But he's like, he has this chest, and it doesn't seem like he has a lot of credits. So I was thinking, like, at first I was like, there's no way he went through all 150,000 credits. And why would he hide on this big populated city? Like,
Right.
if you're going to hide, you're not going to go to a big populated city, no matter how scared they made him look as he's walking through town. Like, so that's why I'm leaning more towards this was a flashback to what
Yeah.
got him arrested, because he says that he spent 6 years and then, skiing, something about him being a chef or a cook or whatever.
Right.
But we do see a K2 droid, which was pretty fun because you're like, oh, it's K2SO, but then the voice was completely different.
Yeah.
So he goes out to get some more Pizos and Revnog, and there's some guys that are being chased by a shore trooper, which I liked. I liked their armor. It was fun armor, and I think we've seen it before, maybe in like Rebels or something.
We saw shore troopers in Rogue One.
Rogue One, okay.
There were shore troopers on, and now I'm dropping the name. The last planet they were on in Rogue One.
Okay.
Where the plans for the Death Star are.
Okay. So we see some more shore troopers, and they're being chased by the shore troopers. So he's scared. I'm sure he was up to no good, whether it's in the past or in the future. But so he's like walking like kind of hastily, and then he gets pulled aside by the shore trooper because he is running scared. And then the guard, he says to the guard, like, I'll wait here if you want to go deal with those guys. And then a K2 droid is coming up. He's carrying two people who are being bad, whatever they were doing. He drops them, and the guy says, make sure he hangs around or something like that. And the K2 droid goes, hang.
Right.
And he picks him up, and he's like, tell him you didn't mean that. Not like that. So then he goes, and then he gets arrested, and he's in this, like, bad, really poor prison or courtroom, like, very, dingy. There's one fan there, one Imperial fan there. That was it. It was just like, which is why I also think that it was a flashback more than a flash forward, because maybe it's like the start of the Empire as well, and like they weren't as funded as well or anything like that. I don't know.
No, and that's. Did that judge remind you of the portions guy from
Yes.
from Force Awakens?
Yes, 100%. You get 1/2 portion, and she's like sitting there like eating her nuts as it's going on.
Yes.
Yes.
Did you also catch that her fan had the one fan that was there? The grates for it were the Imperial crest.
The Imperial crest, yep, exactly. Which is like, oh, there it is. So you can get your Imperial issue fan, but you can't get air conditioning in this building.
Right.
And then she's like sentencing him to crime. He's like, I didn't, and she's like, do you want me to add something else to it as well? And he was like, no. And she's like, fine, 6 years. He's like, what? She's like, this would have been a 6-month sentence, but now it's a 6-year sentence. And also on Screen Crush, Ryan Airy, the host of it, he loves to read Arabesh. So
Okay.
the two names that they ran over the old credit card machine were neither of the two names. It wasn't, his name was like Keith. It reminded me of Grief Karga. It was like Keith Garga.
Yes.
And I was like, Grief Karga? So it was Keith Garga or something like that. But when he ran the name across, it was, it said like Kevin James or Kevin Jones or something like that. Like it was some guy who was like an effects guy on a couple of the shows. Might even be on this show as well.
That's cool.
But yeah, so Ryan Airy, if you want to know exactly what it said in Arabesh, he breaks down every time he sees anything written in Arabesh, which is a lot of fun.
Nice.
But it didn't say their names. It said different names. So he was like, I don't know if you didn't think we weren't going to try and translate it or not, but we did, and it says your name. So good job. So you see him getting sentenced, and then the very last scene is is our boy Cyril going to his new job, and it's like he's in a different type of prison than what Cashin's going to.
It
So
felt very Office Space.
yes, yes, it was. Well, Bob's, I have 7 bosses. So when I make a mistake, I have 7 people that come down and yell at me. So I just try to do as little work as possible to prevent anybody from coming to yell at me. So, yes, I love Office Space as well. So there we go. So that was the whole episode. It was a great episode. I liked it a lot. It was a lot of good character backstory building. Now you see the start of the political end of it, and you also see how the Empire is handling things right now. So what's nice about it is there are so many more episodes left. Like, this is only episode 7, and we have 12 this season. And then we have 12 more next season. So I'm happy, as opposed to, Book of Boba Fett or The Mandalorian, where they only had 10 episodes or 8 episodes or whatever it was, where it's like, come on, give me some more. Like, give me a great story. This seems to be turning into a really, really good story.
Yeah, I think they're hitting the pacing the right way.
Yeah.
It's feeling right. The only thing I don't like, and it happened last episode, and then it happened again this episode. The last scene is weird. It's definitely like a decision by the director. The director's definitely doing that.
Yeah.
But it's weird. Like this time it was Cyril.
It was Cyril. Yeah.
Last time it was Luthen, if I remember right.
Yeah, the Luthen laughing.
Like a weird little tag that it feels like they're trying to make it a cliffhanger, but it really generally isn't.
Yeah, and it's almost like they're trying to do like a Marvel thing where they have a post-credit scene, but they have the post-credit scene before the credits because they don't want people to miss the post-credit scene type of thing. Yeah. But yeah, like neither of them really needed to be there to complete the story for the episode. It was better this week than last week's. Last week's I really felt was completely unnecessary.
Yeah.
This week's I was like, okay, because, like we get to see, here's one more. Cyril opened and closed the episode in just 2 different versions of his life that he's not happy that he's in right now.
Right.
No matter where he goes, he's just like, ugh. If I go home, my mom is bitching at me. If I'm at work, I'm sitting in this cubicle staring at numbers. So yeah.
Yeah, I think this episode definitely was that turning point, and they had to do it this way for marketability, right? They had to hook you in with some action,
Yeah.
which is the attack, the stealing the Empire's payroll, and now they've got you hooked in, so they're gonna reel you up and start doing turn the corner and start doing the more political, more delicate pieces that take a little bit more brain power to watch.
Yeah, 100%. So, okay, well, on that note, I think that's it for this week. What do you think?
I think so.
Awesome. Well, I want to thank you once again for coming and filling in for Nicholas. He claims that he'll be back next week.
Nice.
Maybe he'll bring his baby with him. I doubt it, because she'll only be 3 or 4 weeks old, and he shouldn't be taking her out of the house at that point in time. So maybe he'll be here. Maybe we'll have all 3 of us. If you want to keep coming back, I'd be more than happy to. You're doing a great job of filling in there, so I'd be more than happy to let you come back again. That's my Canadian hockey speak there. Again.
Yeah, if you need me or if you want me, let me know. I'd be happy to join. It's a good time. I'm glad you're having me here, so yeah, if you need some help or if you want some help, let me know.
Sounds like a plan to me. All right. Well, from all of us here, I'm Rob, and that over there is
Ryan.
I'll have to make that faster so it's like bam right
There
away.
we go, yeah. Someday I'll remember this.
There you go. And now ready. Here we go. Say it after me, not with me. Okay. And remember, from all of us here at Bantam Milk Podcast, we have spoken.
We have spoken.
There we go. That was it.